Hey family, we are live, broadcasting live. This is the Conversation Room 101. Make sure it's only adults in the house. I need your mind to be open, prepared, and relaxed. Welcome to our home. Take your shoes off. We got some rules we need to go over. Be kind. No cursing in the chat. If you want to curse, call in. And no shouting out other channels. That's a no-no. We got one other rule. There is no judging our guests. It will not be permitted. Zero tolerance. And if so, you want to do that, guess what? We got security. And we will escort you out. Because over here, hashtag we don't care. We're going to be one big family. We're going to laugh together sometimes. We're going to cry. But we definitely going to pray. I thank the Lord above for everything. I lift him up and give him the glory. But you guys, right now we're going to get our popcorn and then we're going to see what's going on. And let me just park my car and I'll be in there in a minute. I see you soon.
The Copyright Disclaimer Act. The Copyright Disclaimer Act under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news, reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Like, share, subscribe.
Do you want to know? Well, I've been thinking about you, and I think you'll have to listen, because the sun is up, it's a beautiful day.
And we won't stop. We will not stop.
Sun. Come, won't you come along? And it feels so right, it's like luck is raining on me. Go and follow your heart, doesn't matter how far. There is so much love to give, something's telling me this time. Baby, baby, now
See this? How you cannot go
baby,
again?
baby, gotta go. There is so much love to give, something's telling me it's right.
Neighbors and the
When you
community
came to me,
compelled to
who are
scour
you?
the area.
It's you, yeah, boy.
Where does the fault lie on you?
Hey, we got some popcorns in the house. We got Freddie J. We got Margie Mac. We got Miss Dee Dee. Oh man, I just put y'all on the same one. Hold on, Margie. Let me redo yours. Margie Mac. And we got Miss Dee Dee. Miss Dee Dee in the house. So, Freddie, your number 7929780. Margie Mac, 7929779. And Miss Dee Dee is in the building. Dee Dee, you better show up too when we get ready to do our giveaway. I ain't playing. You like to get all the whistles and bells and all the tickets, and then your name get called and you know where to be found. Freddie be there though. If ain't nobody else show up, Freddie gonna show up. That's my girl. That she gonna show up and show out. Anyway, I got your 3 tickets up in there. Thank you guys for showing on up. I came on early. I told you guys, start looking for me to come on early. Start looking for extra days because we're trying to get everybody, because this is the one that you get lots of free tickets all the time. We give out the tickets with the first 3 people that come in and say popcorn. They get a free ticket, and the giveaway is going to be strictly money. So if you don't know, now you know. Okay? I wanted to come on and get today over with. Yes, I wanted to come on and get today over with. I was trying to rest. I don't know if the wind or whatever knocked my tree down in the backyard, but it's hectic. I just cleaned my backyard and now I got a big mess. So that makes me mad because I just spent about $400-500 getting my backyard cleaned, and now it just to wait for a tree to fall. And I can't get through my backyard because the tree is in the backyard on the ground. On the ground. Anyway, you guys, we've got 3 verdict watches that we are watching for. I just talked to Miss Valerie probably about maybe 30 minutes ago, and I'm just wondering what you guys are thinking. So there's a verdict watch for Trump. There's a verdict watch for Daybell. And then there's a verdict watch for Christopher. So I want to know what you guys are thinking. She said, I'm listening, waiting to the lab work. All right, girl, I know you got to handle that business, okay? No worries, no worry. Freddie here. Tell me what you're thinking. Okay, so I guess the jurors came back in. She said, no problem, thumbs up. Girl, I love you. The juror came back in for maybe right after lunch, and they wouldn't let us listen to what they had to say. I guess they had a question or something. I seen somebody in the comment section said they wanted to see the treadmill video again. So I'm like, why they want to see? Because they wouldn't let us hear what they asked for or whatever. And I'm talking about Christopher Gegor. And we're all guessing what's going on. Why is it that I feel the way I feel? I don't know. I'm a little bit sad, you guys. I am. Hey, Beverly, how you doing? Good afternoon to you. She's saying, Freddie, good afternoon to you. So, I'm just upset because while watching this trial, and I just hate to say it, it doesn't look good. It just do not look good at all. I watched this trial and I watched it very carefully. After watching it, I go to work and watch it. When I have free time, I'm watching it. I go back and look, and I'm looking at the expression of Christopher's face and his father's face and his sister and his girlfriend and his brother. And then I'm looking at Brianna's face and looking at her friend and her boyfriend's face and the way everybody's looking at the juror and Christopher, you guys. I don't know if you guys are watching it, but Christopher, he's got the duck mouth going on. He's got the scrunching of his forehead, and he's looking down, but he's looking up at the jurors like that. Just put your mouth in the duck mouth, like a duck mouth. Scrunch up your forehead, and then put your head down to your chin, and then look up. And that's how he's looking at the jurors. That's how he's looking at the jurors. And he's just sitting there, and he's looking at them like he's a kid. He's a grown man that made some bad decisions. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I can't say that they proved without a doubt. I can't say they proved that he killed this child. Because when you say prove, the evidence, like, do you have the stick? Did he say it? Did somebody see it? You know what I'm saying? We know the time and we know the day that Corey passed away. Passed away April the 2nd at 5-something at the hospital. But the father did take him to the hospital. Yeah, he carried him. And he didn't even have him like when he carried him in, he didn't carry him in like my baby. I mean, he carried him in, but like a sack of potatoes, he carried that child in. And the child, oh my God. But that doesn't prove somebody's guilty. Him running away and driving all the way to Tennessee and Arkansas and Texas from New Jersey, that tells me something. Why you running? You dropped your child off at the hospital, didn't stay. I'm going to tell you, now that is not evidence like, oh, that proves that he's guilty. It just doesn't. But I'm going to be honest with you. That looks bad. I could care less what the defense is saying. That looks bad. Because normally, you guys, and everybody do grieve differently. I get tired of people like, everybody grieve differently, SP. Shut the front door. Ain't nobody stupid. I've seen a lot of people die. That's what I'm not saying I'm in the market to see people die, but I see a lot of people die. And when they die, I don't see people like, they get there, they say they dead. And they be like, okay, I'm out. And then they leave. I don't see that. I never seen that, to be honest with you. They stay around and they wait for the family to come. And they be like, I can't believe it. And what happened? And can I see him one more time? And explain to me, because this is unrealistic. They don't just get up and be like, okay, I'm out and I'm finna drive across country. And they said that in court. She was like, yeah, he drove across country. And they was like, he didn't drive across country. Tennessee is not country. And I'm like, well, he did drive across state line to 2 or 3 different states. And then he was like, well, if I was going to Mexico, then why was my car turned back towards that way? You were probably going to get something to eat. Y'all decided to get something to eat or something. You wasn't just driving back or whatever. Maybe you missed your exit and you wasn't going where you was going. We don't know where you was going. We have no clue where you was going. We know one thing is that you was gone from New Jersey and your child had passed away. And then his mother lied and said that they were at the house and they were threatening everybody. He didn't know nothing about no threats, so why was he running? See, they showed that. He turned his phone on airplane mode and did not turn it back on. By the time he turned it back on, he way in Tennessee. He didn't know nothing about nobody at the house and they threatening them. His mother and his father told him, son, don't run. And I would have told my child the same thing. Son, don't run. Don't run. You may not like. Hey, come on now. I see you in the building. You may not like how this is gonna do. I've had to tell my son, come to me and we're gonna go turn yourself in. Don't run, because it looks like you are guilty when you're running. It looks like you're guilty. And my son was like, oh, Mom, But I told him to do it, because if you're not guilty, why are you running? They're gonna take the other person's word for it. Well, don't run. Do not run. And my son trusted me, and he turned himself in. Now, they did lock him up. And he was like, Mom, you gonna come get me? $3,000-$4,000, come and get me. I don't have extra $3,000-$4,000 so you can be back in that person's face. Hello? So I told you not to even mess with that person, not be with that person, not even look at the person. You want to have a full relationship. So, and it's still like that. Don't listen. Okay. So now you sit down until you see the judge. That's what you do. And that's what he did. And once he got to see the judge, They let him go. We didn't have to pay nothing. They let him go. Because if you did nothing, no need of running. Where you going to run to? What you running for? Where you going to run to? If somebody going to charge you, the charges is not going to go away. So sooner or later, it's going to look bad. You're running. And then you will not get a bond to get out. And how can you defend yourself when you're in, when, you know, your mama and your daddy broke? We ain't got no money. We barely can make ends meet and put food on the table. So I'm glad that you came on back. You got to stay on these kids when they make bad decisions. And they do. And I'm not saying Christopher just made a bad decision. Christopher, looking at that treadmill video, I would say you have opportunity. The child was with you. The child was well before he ended up at your house. And Christopher, you said you're in for a rude awakening. Then not only that, Christopher deleted all his text messages that he sent to Brianna. He told Brianna she was going to be in a rude awakening. And I'm like, what was the rude awakening? You was going to beat that child. The child going to be in the hospital. Or you're going to lose all custody. It was one of the three. You're going to do something. Because that's what that is. You literally threatened her. She did not threaten you. Now, Brianna is one of those girls that's doing things wrong in her world, hurting herself and hurting her child. Why I say hurting her child? If you are embracing drugs and whatever, then you lose custody of your child. Somebody else got to take care of your kid. And while somebody else is taking care of your kid, you know what happens? Anybody in here, to be honest with you, when somebody else is taking care of your kid and you try to come and say, well, I don't want you to do this and I don't want him to be taught that and I don't think he need to be playing with a teddy bear, you really got no say so, because that person is the one taking care of your child. But everybody be like, but I'm mama and I'm daddy and that's the way it is. And if you don't do what I want you to do, then give me my kid. And then what use do you want with the kid? You're not making right decisions. Keep yourself clean. Brianna came on there and said that she was clean. She hadn't been doing no drugs. But then she called her ex-boyfriend, which he's now in the courtroom sitting with her. And she asked for a bump. Everybody know what a bump is. But here's the thing. She didn't hide nothing. Now, I don't believe that this child died of some septic pneumonia when his blood cell count before death was normal. That's just not true. He can't die when his blood cell count, his white blood cell count was normal. You don't have an infection if your white blood cell count is normal. You don't have no infection. You don't have pneumonia. You definitely ain't got no sepsis. So they've got these expert witnesses that done came on and said that they did a blood cell count after death, and he had an increased white blood cell count. Of course, you got a increased white blood cell count. You got all kind of chemicals in your blood now because you're dead. And if you're dead, your body ain't working right? Your liver ain't working right, your spleen ain't working right, your kidney ain't working right. So they throwing off chemicals, trying to figure out what's going on. So yeah, your white blood cell count is going to be increased. But they're acting like, since I'm a doctor, that's what hey, you paying for a person to put a little doubt in the jury's mind. And it was a doctor. And you can't stop these people from coming on doing stuff like that. Hopefully he didn't do damage. But he was an older man. He wasn't going to mess up his... He just like, yep, yeah. I'm just saying that's my opinion. And he can have an opinion because he's been a doctor for a long time. Doesn't mean his opinion is right. Matter of fact, it may not make any more sense. Because guess what? He's a doctor. When you're a doctor, then you and you got all these titles, you can be an expert person that has an opinion. And some people listen to it. Okay, but and I'm gonna say this, and sometimes people get mad. They be like, you know what I've noticed? Here's the thing, you guys. I notice that when it comes to the truth, people don't want to hear the truth. They don't. They don't want to hear the truth. They want to hear what they hear. They do. They want to hear what they hear. And if you ain't saying what they want you to say, you can hang it up. You can. Hold on. Hey, this is SP.
Hey, how y'all doing everybody? You're right about what you're saying, because I don't care how you swing snot. You got some people that can make it seem like you're lying.
Exactly.
Like that's all they want to hear is a lie.
And you know I guess I don't know why that they rather believe a lie than the truth. You know? Why is that?
I guess because the world is just evil. I don't know why. I can't even give you the right answer for that question. I have no idea why. Whatsoever.
Wow.
Can you explain that one yourself? Why?
Well, you know, you kind of got it right already. It's just the way the world is. It's like everybody wants to, you know, anytime that there's a case that comes up, I just look to see, is there any news, and there's no news. But anytime, you know, like say for instance, if I won the lottery or something and I blew the money, people always go, okay, it's okay for you to win the money and just win the lottery and blow the money. It's really not okay to do that because you got a whole family and whatever. I don't know how you just did that, but you did it all in, you know, a month or something. But then people want to sit there and they always say this, well, if you know, I won some money one time and I went through it. So they want to reflect on what they did before. Like it was okay for whatever happened to them. Not taking in consideration that, I'm not saying it's wrong, but they're trying to put themselves in that shoe of that person because of some kind of agreement or settlement of what they've done before. They want to believe what they done was okay, so they're in agreement what this person done. So they go, well, you know, this is what they say. They say, well, SP, you know, I mean, just because he left the hospital doesn't mean it's wrong. I didn't say it was wrong. But would have just left the hospital? And then they say, no, but people grieve differently. You know why? Because somebody done said something about how you grieved at one time. So it doesn't matter what a person really looking at. But a normal person and a psychiatrist, a psychologist will tell you when a person pass, You just don't want to leave them.
Yeah.
You know, your family's there, or your family's coming. They coming, and you want to at least see them one more time, or you want the doctor to tell you what happened, what's going on. But you're not gonna say, "Okay, I'm out. Okay, I gave you my child. You said my child is gone. Okay, I'm finna get on the highway and I'm gone."
Yeah.
That is, it's just not that. You want answers.
Yes, you do, because, when my great-grandson had passed away, it's like I'm still going through it. There's no limit on how long or what it takes for a person to grieve and get over something. There is no time limit.
Right, you're right. There's no time limit, but okay, in a normal person though, do you think that person can grieve in 5 minutes?
No, no.
Right.
There is absolutely no.
Do you think, okay, so if they said something, they say, okay, this patient passed away, and they ain't even gave you an explanation of what happened or why, but you just leave the hospital without the answer of what just happened to him?
Yeah. Because I know how we were with, like I said, my great grandson, girl. The doctor explained to us and the mama she did nothing wrong. That baby was well taken care of. I'm talking about she came in and talked to the whole family. Family room was full. We wanted to know
Right.
what happened to the baby. And they took my granddaughter down through their DHR. They went and did an autopsy that very same day. And he died just because he just died. No reason at all, probably seen. But there was nothing in the baby's system. Nothing. She said, this baby's well loved. They know. And I know even sometime now, Malaysia would say, go to talking and she'll say to her, we tell her who you talk to, she said, my brother.
Huh.
I'm talking to big dude. And so, that's the reason I said I just can't believe how some people just believe like the old people grieve different. Girl, we wasn't leaving the hospital. We was over there that same day at her apartment, getting the funeral arrangements together. Everybody having to go in on it. But we want to know everything.
Right.
What happened?
Right.
That's when I said I can't believe that, because I went outside on my front porch. Girl, I was hollering and asking the Lord why. I don't understand what happened.
Right.
And that's when I just can't see that. I can't see you just running away.
Yeah.
You want to know what happened to your child, your children,
Yeah.
your generation.
Yeah. You want to know.
Yeah, exactly.
And just like, when I found my brother passed away, I could have called the police and left because it wasn't nothing I can do. But, I started calling family member, and they're like, what's happening? And I was like, get over here because it's happening now. And it's a done deal. Get over here. And, girl, I think I was there for 4 or 5 hours until they brought him out the house. And they're not going to just take somebody out the house. I mean, because he had been deceased. But I'm like, I want to know, did somebody do something to him? What happened? I want to know what happened.
Exactly.
And so, and they couldn't tell me exactly right then. And I know they couldn't. But, they could tell me if there was a bullet wound or if there was a break-in the house or something tell me something. Just don't tell me he just died. Like,
Yeah.
cause
Yeah.
you know, I come over and I find this person in their deceased. What happened?
Exactly.
He take this child to the hospital because he was like, he was throwing up, you know, whatever. He pooped in his pants. He's sleep. He's lethargic, you know. And then they say they worked on him for 49 minutes. They worked on Corey for 49 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's way too long. Usually half of that, 15, 20 minutes. I mean, because when they're doing CPR, like they said, you're dead. CPR means you're dead. I mean, they're not worried about breaking bones and cracking stuff. They're trying to get that heart to work, even though, I mean, you know, keep that oxygen going into the brain or whatever. But 10 minutes later, he was like, he's out of there.
Okay.
He wasn't even 10 minutes. He was gone.
What happened to my boy? My son, what's going on? Did somebody do anything to him? I want to know all of that.
Girl, you know, I don't know what this father did. And that's what they're going to have a problem with. Because, you know, he had, like I said, he was normal the day before. He was at the hospital the day before. And they did blood work. They checked his lungs. They'd see if he had any redness in his throat, in his ears, in his eyes. Everything was fine.
Okay.
So,
I just can't see somebody like you say. That's really what's gonna hurt his case. Right there.
well, that in, you know, March the 20th, they got a video of the father putting him on that treadmill and trying to make him run, you know, 100 miles an hour. Yeah.
I can't do that.
I can't do it. You can't do it. None of us can do it. But he had that boy trying to do it. And he sat there and watched him and then put him on the treadmill.
My Lord.
And he turned. First, the treadmill was going just a normal rate. And then he started, you know, speeding it up. And the boy couldn't even get on the treadmill because it was so fast. He would just tumble down. And then he would get back up and try it again. He'd tumble down. And he'd get back up and try it again and tumble down. And I'm pretty sure he was telling them, try it again, try it again, try it again. And the boy just kept on doing it. He was trying to please his father.
Yeah. My Lord.
And
Good with him.
did you see the video?
No, I haven't. I know you were saying you were gonna show it.
Girl, I'm not going to show. I can't show that. Mm-mm.
You can't show it.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I could show it, but it's kind of like one of those videos, you see it, and once you see it, you can't get it out your mind.
Oh, okay.
It's really bad.
I got you.
And it hurts to see the grandfather, Christopher's father, the defendant's father, even said he didn't want to see it. He didn't want to see Corey being abused because that's exactly what it is.
I know.
Now, it's one of those abuses that is emotional, is physical, and it's mental. For a child 6 years old to have to go through, and people don't realize that emotional and mental abuse is worse than just physical abuse, because physical abuse, sometimes people get physically abused and then they cover it up, or they say they still love me, or they whatever. But when it's, you know, this child never wanted anything. He wanted to be accepted by his dad. And I think this dad just didn't want to pay child support. He didn't want this baby by this girl because she was a drug addict. But the baby looked just like him. The baby looked just like him in the face. And you know, having a kid is a big responsibility, though.
Yes, it is.
Hey, KMB.
Story.
Having a baby is a big responsibility, and regardless of how you take care of them, you're never going to be satisfied. You could have did something better or whatever. But I tell people this all the time. You did the best you could do, and if they still around, you did a good job. You did good. Just now go live your life. Let them live their life, and you go live your life, because there's no book of raising kids. But certain things not to put that kid through. And we know what we do to kids when we ain't doing right. We hand them to mama, we hand them to the grandparents, we hand them to the sisters and the nieces and the aunties. And I was handed to my aunt when I was young, because my mother wasn't making right decisions. I was handed to my aunt. And I thank God, because I could be dead.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And she wasn't on drugs or anything. She was just, I guess her thinking was, I'm with this man and he's paying all the bills, and I need him. You know what I'm saying? But I want my child to be okay, so she sent me to my aunt.
That was a good thing right there. She was concerned about her daughter. Yes.
Yeah, and and I couldn't understand it. I was angry for a long time. Like, why you give me away? Like, what did I do? Because I'm a girl. Well, one thing is, yeah, because you're a girl, because you're getting to be mistreated. And I got to take care of all the kids, not just you. And we all sit here and starve.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see that back then when I was a kid. I just thought, why'd you give me away?
You understand more when you become a parent yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And, and then the way I raised my kids felt that they didn't have a good childhood life. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? You want me to stay in a relationship where I'm getting hit and beat? No, We'll all eat ramen noodles for the rest of our life if we got to, but I'm not going to let somebody just hit you and beat you. But I'm not going to give you away either, because I think, I'm here to protect you. So,
That's true.
but it's nice to hear from you, Freddie.
But she was used to boys too.
Right. You're right.
She was, all your brothers.
Yep. Yep.
Are you there?
Yeah.
I think my phone done turned off.
I hear you. Can you hear me? I guess she couldn't hear me, you guys. Hey, KMB, how you doing? So, yeah, that stuff really do happens from, families. But, so, I want to do something before we get off of here, you guys. I've been coming on. I ain't been staying on. Because I'm going to be honest with you. Some of these cases, you have to think about them. They ain't just, let's just talk about it and, we go on about our life or whatever. I mean, there's something that we can learn in all these cases. It really can. I know it's not happening to us. I understand, Freddie. But, so on Christopher Gegor case, who thinks that he's going to be found guilty? Please put in there Christopher or Chris guilty. If you think Trump's going to be found guilty and go to jail, put Trump in there. If you think David Daybell, he's going to be found guilty, put it in there. If you think they're going to be found innocent, let me know what you guys are thinking, because we're watching these cases and they are getting, when it comes to this part where the verdict, watch. It's real important to watch the whole thing and find out, because you can learn from what jurors look at, watch, who, just like Trump, he's on trial for this scandal about this hush money that he done paid this woman to have an affair with her. K and B said Chris is going to be guilty. Trump ain't no telling. Okay, got you, K and B. Thank you. And that's weird because when I think about Chris, I'm like, Chris gonna be found guilty, but he's gonna be probably found guilty on the lesser charge, like endangerment. And oh my God, I can't wait until June gets here and Corey and Bigsby case. It's, hey Sanja, how you doing? You was on my mind, girl. Sanja Watts. Where's Sanja Watts at? Sanja Watts. Pooh Bear, he loves to. 2 out of 3. She said 2 out of 3. So, you think, I know for a fact, Daybell is going to be found guilty. Hands down. David Daybell is going to be found guilty. I looked at one thing on his thing, and I didn't have to look at no more. I just said to myself, if that ain't a guilty person, I don't even know why he went to trial. I'm just being honest, you guys. They got him on the telephone asking her about, we're going to take the kids out, and I got a plan for the kids and all this other stuff. Margie says Chad verdict is in. Shut the front door. Chad Daybell? Hold on. She said Chad Daybell. Let's see. She said Chad Daybell verdict is in. Let's see what we got. Okay. I don't see Chad Daybell. Let me see. Let me look at Christopher real quick. Hold on.
Here's why you should leave the job you hate and get into medical billing and coding. It's a rapidly...
Oh, Lord. This thing is just doing all kind of stuff.
100% online.
It just did not want to do. Oh, wow. They're in the courtroom on the Christopher case. Did you say Chad? Because I just checked with the Christopher case and
Autopsy report. I saw the images that were generated in association with the autopsy, and I examined the histological slides, and we will talk about those momentarily. The slides that you look at under the microscope. So I looked at that, and then I had medical records from 3 different hospital facilities. I believe Ocean County Medical Center, the Jersey Shore Medical Center, and South Ocean. I saw medical records from Ivy Pediatrics, which were Corey's pediatric care provider. Certainly I saw police documentation, law enforcement documentation. I saw some telephone records. I had access to the video of Corey on a treadmill. And subsequent to issuing my first report, I received additional materials. I did receive an expert report from an infectious disease specialist, Dr. Feingold, and a report from a defense pathologist expert, Dr. Biden. Question, did you also review video from April 2nd, 2021 from the decedent's mother's phone occurring around 9 o'clock a.m.? Answer, indeed I did, yes. Question, and did you also review autopsy photos?
they're reading the transcript.
An opinion after you reviewed all of this material in regard to the decedent's cause of death? Answer, yes. Question, can you tell the jurors what that opinion is? Answer, I'm simply going to quote from my report because it is a mouthful, and we will break it down. The Corey died of blunt impact injuries of the chest and abdomen with laceration of the heart, left pulmonary contusion, and laceration and contusion of the liver. Question, and can you explain to the jurors when you say cause of death, what does that mean? Answer, cause of death is, it sounds simple enough, but it is something that's very specific. Cause of death is a disease or injury or combination of those things that initiates what is ultimately a lethal train of events, and without which death would not have occurred. So there are many, many, many causes of death. Question, and what about blunt force trauma? Can you explain to the jurors what that means? Answer, in forensic pathology, there are various kinds of external forces that can act on the body. There could be penetrating trauma, such as that from gunshot wounds or stab wounds, or there could be blunt impact injury. And in that situation, you have force applied to the body single bullet or blade would cause. That blunt injury could be a small area or a large area, but it produces a different kind of injury than penetrating trauma does. And the kind of injuries associated with blunt force impact could include contusions or bruising of the skin or internal lacerations, tears of tissue because the result
This is good. They wanted to hear this transcript.
or fracture of bone. Question, and what affects blunt force trauma and the impact on the body? Answer, well, impact can be anything from minor to life-threatening. If you get up in the middle of the night in a strange hotel room and hit your shin against a nightstand, that may cause a contusion, raise a contusion. But all that is bleeding under the surface of the skin, and that resolves over time, and that will be fine. If you were to fall against that nightstand, you might sustain a laceration of your scalp. That may require stitches, but likewise, you would recover from that. If you sustain any of these kind of blunt impact injuries with sufficient severity, it could conceivably bring about your death if they were severe enough. Question, after reviewing the materials in this case, did you formulate an opinion as to the decedent's manner of death? Answer, I did. Question, and can you tell the jurors what your opinion is? Answer, Corey's manner of death is homicide. While there are many, many, many causes of death, typically in forensic pathology, there are only 5 manners of death. And manner of death is simply a one-word description to describe how a death came about. And those 5 are natural, accident, suicide, homicide, or in rare instances, undetermined. In Corey's case, in that these injuries could not have been inflicted by himself with any kind of intent, it is certainly not suicide. Injuries, given their pattern of distribution, are consistent with having been inflicted by another person. Therefore, any death that is related to the action of another person is, from a medical examiner's standpoint, from an epidemiological
is homicide.
Health standpoint, homicide. Now, that doesn't have any legal significance, but that is the way that a medical examiner certifies it. So Corey's death was at the hands of another person, so therefore, it is a homicide. Question, does the case histology impact the determination of manner of death? Answer, well, it can in certain instances. If you have a gunshot wound to the head with a perforation of the skull and the brain, histology or examining tissue under the microscope doesn't add a whole lot. But in a case like this, certainly the examination of tissues under the microscope was helpful in reaching my conclusions. Question, did you make any findings regarding Corey's medical records from Southern Ocean Medical Center on April 2, 2021? Answer, and I'm going to ask you to clarify that a little bit, because I'm not entirely certain what the question is. Question, did you review the medical records from Southern Ocean Medical Center on April 2, 2021? Answer, yes, I reviewed those records from April 2nd. Question, and can you tell the jurors if that helped to formulate your opinion as to cause and manner of death? Answer, it did, yes. Question, and can you explain why? Answer, well, Corey presented to Southern Ocean at around 3 o'clock. At that point, he was already in serious medical condition. He was ashen, gray, in a shock-like state, and was fairly medically unstable. There was an attempt to make an assessment as to what might have been going on with him by doing a CT scan, and he got worse in the CT scanner to the point where he underwent cardiac arrest. Question, and doctor, did you review any blood work from that hospital? Answer, yes. Question, and did that impact your conclusions? Answer, yes. Question, what about any post-mortem CT scans? Answer, he had a post-mortem CT scan. I don't find those of particular value, certainly compared to an autopsy, as to determining cause or manner of death. But I did see there was a post-mortem CT scan, and I looked at its result. Question, did you review the medical records from Jersey Shore Medical Center the evening of April 1st of 2021? Answer, I did. Question, and can you tell the jurors about that? Answer, well, that particular visit was at the end of a sequence of events wherein Corey initially was seen by his pediatrician, and there was some concerns about these bruises that Corey had.
Come on now.
Whether or not this represented some mistreatment or child abuse.
I guess the prosecutions brought it home.
I believe Corey and his mom went to one, but then they went to Jersey Shore after that. At that examination, he had a physical done, and they documented the various bruises that he had on different parts of his body, none of which were life-threatening. His clinical status at the time was perfectly stable. He was normal. He was conversational. He spoke with the doctor, gave a history, made some disclosures. They also did some blood work and an x-ray of his chest, and all of that was completely normal. Question, do you review the findings from Dr. Agassa's autopsy performed on April 3rd, 2021? Answer, I did. Question, can you tell the jurors what Dr. Agassa's findings were? Answer, so Dr. Agassa received Well, the body was taken to the medical examiner's office, I believe, the night before. But Dr. Agasa performed his examination on the 3rd and documented all the bruises or contusions that were on various aspects of Corey's body. Those were the primary external findings that he had, but an autopsy is a very detailed surgical examination of not only the external aspect of the body, but the internal aspect as well. There is a large, Y-shaped incision made from the shoulders to the middle of the chest, down the center of the body, allowing the pathologist to take a systemic examination of each of the organ systems. It was during that internal examination that Dr. Agasa saw and documented several abnormalities. There was a large contusion in one of Corey's lungs. I believe it was the left lung. The examination of Corey's heart externally didn't show anything, but the internal examination of the heart, after the heart was opened to reveal the chambers of the heart, a laceration or tear in the tissue was revealed near the apex or the tip of the heart on the inside wall of the heart. Below the diaphragm is that flat muscle that divides your chest organs from your abdominal organs. Below the diaphragm on the right side where the liver lives, there were 2 injuries that he documented. There was a laceration or tear in the liver tissue on the right edge, the right lateral aspect of the liver.
So he got hit in the stomach,
Underneath the capsule of the liver on the front edge of the
in the
liver.
chest.
There was a small amount of free blood in the floor of the pelvis, undoubtedly associated with the liver laceration. Question, now doctor, did you review slides which were prepared in conjunction with the autopsy? Answer, yes, I did. Can you tell the jurors what the slides are? Answer, this was what I was referring to when I used the term histological. These are not slides like old 35mm photographic slides. This is something different. During the internal part of the examination in an autopsy, small tissue samples of areas that look normal or abnormal can be taken, and then they are processed by a laboratory such that they are cut in very, very thin slices and floated onto a glass slide. That tissue is then stained with specific kinds of stains that allow the pathologist to then see the cells under the microscope. So I did see the entire set of histological slides that Dr. Agasa had prepared in conjunction with his autopsy. Question, did you also review autopsy images? Answer, yes. Question, and can you tell the jurors specifically what image 151 depicted? Answer, image 151 was of a pulmonary contusion, meaning a blunt injury of the lung associated with bleeding. Now, there was a picture of it. It is, obviously, you could see it. It's obvious that you could see it. It does not appear in his narrative description, but is depicted in the photographs. Question, and can you tell the jury about image 153? Answer, well, I have to refer to my report on that. Question, yes, doctor, if you could. Answer, 153 was a picture of the free blood that was in the pelvis. Question, can you tell the jurors about images 163 through 170, please? Answer, those were various views from different angles of the liver injuries. Question, what about images 172 through 178? Answer, those depicted injuries in different parts of the body. 172 to 75 were hemorrhage in the retroperitoneal tissue. Sorry about the jargon, but I mean that's where it was. What is that? The abdomen is lined by a lining called the peritoneum. Retroperitoneum means bleeding underneath the peritoneum. This was towards the back of, where the backbone is. 76 to 78 was similarly hemorrhage, contusion, and it was in the area of his left shin, ninth rib. The area of his left ninth rib.
Did he?
That may well be what was associated, that trauma on that side may well be what was associated with the contusion of the lung itself on that side. And then, yes, that takes us to 178. Question, okay, doctor, and did you review images 196 through 200? Answer, yes. Question, and can you tell us about those? Answer, these images were, I should preface this. I explained when I was talking about when an autopsy is approached in general, I do that incision in the front. In cases where it is important to do, the death of somebody in police custody, for example, or in this case, a potential child abuse case, you do a similar examination of the back. So you turn the body over, and an incision is made along the midline of the back, and that skin is reflected so that you can see the muscles of the back. These images, 196 to 200, depicted soft tissue hemorrhage or contusions along the spine or the backbone that you could not see necessarily on the surface of the skin. There were certainly contusions on Corey's back, but there were also contusions that did not correlate with deep contusions that didn't correlate with contusions that were on the skin. Question, can you tell the jurors about the myocardial Epicardium is just the lining of the outside of the heart. So he had a visible contusion on the outside of the heart, but it wasn't until the heart was opened in such a way that you could see the inside, each of the chambers, that this laceration was revealed. On the left ventricle, which is the lower left chamber of the heart, that is the muscle one. That is the one that pumps the blood out to the rest of the body. And there were tissues, hair in the tissue. Dr. Agasa described it as about 1.5 inches, and that comports with the photograph, a horizontally oriented tear near the tip of the apex of the heart into the muscle. It didn't go all the way through the heart wall. It was just a tear of the heart muscle in the internal surface of the left ventricle. Question, doctor, did you review images
Wow.
6 to 220? Answer, I did. Question, and can you tell the jurors about that? Answer, this was a series of images.
The judge is sitting there like, oh my goodness, you're going over the whole transcript of that witness.
There was maybe one abrasion or
This is good.
near the eyebrow, but when one looked at the skin or underneath the skin, there was a contusion on the top of his head and a couple of contusions on the back side of his scalp that you couldn't see on the surface. Question,
Wow.
doctor, did you make any findings regarding bruising on the decedent's body, which was significant in regard to your formulation of your opinion? Answer, well, in assessing the potential for child abuse, it is not so much that contusions are life-threatening in and of themselves, but it is the pattern and distribution of injuries and also the presence of injuries at varying ages that suggest a child has been mistreated. And
Whoa.
Gordon had contusions over a wide area of his body of varying ages, from under his chin, his head, his trunk, his extremities. There was one fairly large one just on the left side of his chest that looked to be very large, and that had been previously assessed. And particularly the presence of contusions on the back without a pretty clear-cut explanation.
Brianna is just sitting in the courtroom listening, you guys, with her head down. I couldn't even stay in there.
So my concern was not so much with the severity of the bruising, but the pattern and distribution of bruising as being suggestive of child abuse. Question, doctor, did you make any findings regarding the decedent's liver? Answer, yes. Question, and can you tell the jury? Answer, well, as I said, there were 2 injuries. Question, Answer, one of them fairly minor. It was on the front edge of the liver, and it was just a contusion. That is not particularly uncommon after CPR, but there was a second, more significant injury, and that was out on the right side, the right lateral edge of the liver. It was described as a superficial contusion, but the photos clearly show that it was a contusion that goes fairly deeply into the liver tissue itself. And
He beat this baby so bad that it tore his inside liver.
that could be attributed to CPR. So those are the 2 findings involving the liver. Question, doctor, were you able to formulate an opinion as to the time frames when these blunt force trauma injuries were inflicted? Answer, only in a general sense, giving a range of time. To dispense with the contusions first, many of them were sampled under the microscope, and many of them were pretty much all healed or mostly healed. You could see something on the surface of the skin, but not much going on underneath it. So other than to say on my gross inspection of these bruises they appeared to be of varying age, that is as far as my opinion would go in regarding bruising. The internal injuries, on the other hand, have a little more objective evidence to offer in terms of timing, and the basis for that is something called the inflammatory process. So what does that mean? When tissue is injured, there's a fairly predictable sequence of events that occurs in the body's attempt to repair itself. That is what inflammation is, or one type of inflammation. So that inflammatory process involves the appearance of certain kinds of repair cells to the area of injury within a fairly predictable time frame. So I examined both and I did not generate new slides. These were slides that were done at the time of the original autopsy. So slides of injury and slides of the heart injury and slides of the liver injury. And in both of these injuries, there was a fairly well-established acute inflammatory process there. The cells that make up the acute response are called, I've got to say it because they have a name, they're called polymorphonuclear leukocytes. Wow. Let's just call them polys. So polys are recruited to the scene within hours after an injury like this. The second wave of inflammatory cells are called mononuclear cells. Those are pretty rare. I only saw those here and there. After that, and those, take up to like 24 hours to get there.
Hey, woke to God, how you doing?
You actually start to see some attempt to heal the tissues. Fibrins laid down, and you see other cells called fibroblasts. Those weren't present. All I was seeing was this acute inflammatory process that was That was the finding based on the histology. Additional evidence that I saw fine-tuned that time frame a little tighter. Question, and doctor, can you tell us about the additional evidence that you saw to fine-tune that time frame? Answer, so if you think about that time frame of 4 to 12 hours, that would have been from 5 o'clock a.m. the day before to 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the 2nd. There was a video that was alluded to, and it wasn't an intentional video. There were no people in the video. You could basically see that the phone was on a car seat or something, and there was some colloquy in there. A question. Doctor, can you explain to the jury if there was an opinion or determination or findings that you made after review of the materials regarding blunt force trauma and the CPR post-mortem? Answer, yes. I was specifically asked questions about that because I believe these were questions that were raised in the original autopsy report. My opinion, given the age of these injuries, it is entirely incompatible with them having been produced by CPR because they wouldn't have had this inflammatory response that takes hours to develop. Furthermore, I don't know anybody who does CPR on the right side of the chest. CPR is done on the front of the chest. And like I said, the anterior liver injuries are not commonly seen with CPR, but not an injury out on the side of the liver that goes deep into the tissue.
Yeah, the liver is a little bit below the diaphragm.
They have a lot of CPR injuries because our ribs fracture much more easily. I've seen a fair number of CPR-related injuries in pediatrics. I've never seen an endocardial or an internal laceration of the heart like this one. So in my mind, I'm quite confident that these injuries are not CPR-related.
Yeah.
So doctor, were you able to determine that the injuries occurred while Corey was still alive because of the inflammation? Answer, oh, exactly. Yes. Question, did you make any findings regarding sepsis or infection? Answer, once again, that issue came up on initial examination. And based not only on the autopsy findings, but my review of the medical records, there is zero, not one scintilla of evidence of sepsis or any other infectious process in Corey's autopsy.
Come on now.
Doctor, did you note any findings regarding stress cardiomyopathy regarding the decedent's heart? Answer, I did. Question, and can you tell the jurors what stress cardiomyopathy is? Answer, cardiomyopathy. So cardio refers to the heart, myo is muscle, and pathy is pathology. So this is some sort of abnormality of heart muscle. As the name suggests, stress cardiomyopathy is an abnormality of the heart muscle that's produced by chronic ongoing stress. It is not visible to the naked eye. It is seen under the microscope. There are well-described changes of individual heart muscle, changes in the color, changes in the way that
Hey Barbara, how you doing?
each cell looks under the microscope, changes in the way
How
that
much is she gonna read?
each cell looks. These findings were pretty widespread in areas of Corey's heart. Some of the findings that are associated with what has been called stress cardiomyopathy, which is in the literature, are associated with CPR because the heart is dying at that point. And some of these findings can be seen also in CPR, but the constellation of all of these findings and the distribution of them throughout the heart says to me that this is not related to CPR, but it is related to chronic ongoing stress. So while Corey's immediate cause of death was the blunt impact injuries that he sustained the day he died, the presence of stress cardiomyopathy suggests that there was ongoing physiological stress, most likely due to the ongoing mistreatment or abuse. Let's see. And there was a recess at this point. Okay. Back with Ms. Lecto questioning. Question, so we may turn to what's marked as S97, please, already in evidence. Doctor, we now have up on the screen S97. Can you please tell the jurors what that is? Answer, that is a very small contusion. It looks like an abraded contusion, sort of a combination injury on Corey's forehead. Question, and is S97 a picture? Is S97 a photograph? Answer, yes, it is a digital image that was generated in conjunction with the autopsy. Question, okay, and can you just explain again what is depicted in S97 in the photograph? Answer, okay, Your Honor, may I stand? And comes down to with the pointer. Okay, so it looks like we are looking at the left side of Corey's head. You can see his hairline is here. This is just the outer edge of his eyebrow on the left side there, and that is Dr. Regas's thumb for a measuring device. So you
So the jurors asked him to read the transcript of what the doctor said, the initial doctor said on Corey's autopsy. And that is good for us, you guys, because maybe they want to hear something.
Question, and why would that raise that? Answer, well, because it is a protected area. It's not normally injured in a slip and fall. Now, if you fall against something, you know that it could conceivably, press your ear hard enough against that bony part, the mastoid process there. But most of the time,
They said that this baby was just stressed out. His heart even showed the stress. Hey, Latoya, how you doing?
Can you tell the jurors what is depicted?
Yeah, he hurt that baby.
Photograph. Enter just to orient you as to where we are anatomically. This is Corey's left shoulder, all right? The left side of his neck, left ear. So there is this linear contusion. It's a brownish, yellowish contusion up under his chin. You can also see this is pretty regular. I suspect this was some sort of EKG monitor pad. So that is not an injury. See how regular that is? It has a hole in it. So this main thing here is the contusion under his chin. Question, and what is significant about that? Answer, well, the significance of a contusion under the chin in and of itself is very little. But in the context of examining a child who has multiple injuries of varying ages at different parts of the body, particularly from under the chin and around the neck area, once again raises the question of whether or not that child has been mistreated. Question, can we please go to the next photograph?
Restrained.
Attention to what has been marked into evidence as S101. Can you please explain what has been depicted in that photograph to the jury?
That means grabbed.
Corey has been rolled up onto his right shoulder. This is Corey's left ear. So that is his head. Right shoulder, left shoulder. What is being emphasized in this image are two contusions. Now, in and of themselves, it's a little distal of a contusion, a dangerous thing? No. But a contusion over the shoulder blade and sort of directly over the spine in a child without some sort of history of how that came about is not an area that you typically see injured in the run and play and slip and fall of a child. It is the it is the pattern.
He going down, y'all.
Question, can we move to the next photograph, please? This is S100. Can you tell the jury what that depicts? Answer, so Corey is laying once again on his side. And we are looking at his hip area, so the buttocks would be down here, the back would be up here. And we are looking at a fairly broad abrasion. And we've talked a lot about contusions, but abrasions are a different kind of a blunt impact injury. If force is applied sort of tangentially or, sweeping across the skin, it can raise the superficial layers of the skin up. Raspberry, right? And that is the kind of injury that we are seeing here. This is an abrasion, a rather large confluent abrasion over his hip. Again, the context is what makes it important. That is not a lethal injury. It's not a life-threatening injury. But in the context of everything else that we are seeing, it is a significant injury. Question, can we please move to the next photograph? S60, doctor, can you tell us what that depicts? Answer, this depicts a contusion or a bruise that captured a lot of people's attention. So this is Corey's right shoulder, armpit area. There is the right nipple. There is the left. Just above it, there is this vaguely patterned contusion that is partially healed. It is fairly large, and it is in a very odd place. Unless there is a good explanation for it, it was evaluated by several care providers. Question, can we move to the next photograph,
Yes,
please?
this is
S59 photograph.
just reading for the jurors. This is not
This is an
the
internal
answer
photograph
yet,
of the
Valerie.
autopsy, the internal
But it is
aspect of
3
the
o'clock.
autopsy. And it is a picture of the liver. And it is specific, the outer right side, that lateral edge of the liver. So on the surface of the liver, what you see is this. There is this little bit of bleeding, and then you can see the tissue that was torn. But Dr. Regassa made an incision right in the middle of this injury to see what was underneath it. And you can see that all of this is abnormal. It should be uniformly this color. What you are seeing here is a fracturing or disruption or laceration of the liver tissue that comes when the liver tissue is compressed in some way. And as I said, CPR is performed in the front. It is not performed out here on the side. Question, doctor, is that a significant injury? Answer, it's not a life-threatening injury. As ugly as it is not a life-threatening injury. Had Corey presented with this and nothing else, they would have probably seen it on the CT scanner and maybe put him in the hospital and observed him to make sure that he did not have ongoing blood loss, and then discharged him to let him, with some physical restrictions, to let it Septum is that muscular wall that divides the left from the right side. So it's got a partial thickness tear of the heart on the left, the inside left ventricle. Question. Now, doctor, can you tell the jurors about the severity of the tear and the relation to thickness? Answer, it is. This is a severe injury. This is the injury that triggered Corey's death. Why? Well, he didn't bleed to death. This laceration didn't go all the way through the heart muscle. It is not a hole in the heart. It is not a tear that goes through the heart. In that case, there would have been an enormous amount of blood loss very quickly, and he would have never survived as long as he did. In this instance, in that it was a partial thickness, his heart could at least for some hours compensate for this injury. But I had mentioned the septum. The septum is where these specialized heart cells that control the rhythm of the heart live. So you've got these natural pacemakers.
Okay, hold on, you guys. Hold on.
That's likely what happened to Corey in the CT scanner, why he went into cardiac arrest.
What?
With CPR, they weren't able to restore some sort of normal rhythm. They were able to restore some sort of normal rhythm, but couldn't maintain it. He kept going into, I believe it was a rhythm called ventricular.
The mama's walking out.
And they ultimately could not resuscitate him.
Oh, Brianna's walking out.
That's how that injury mediates his death. It's
Uh-oh,
exsanguination. This is trauma.
Christopher's face done scrunched up.
The heart eventually decompensates.
He looked like he's wanting to cry.
Arrest due to his trauma. Question. Now, doctor, are you able to review the inflammation which you spoke about before in that photograph? Answer, no. The inflammatory process is something that you see under the microscope. So Dr. Agasta took samples, well, from the other areas of the heart as well, but from and in around this tear, and that is why I saw the inflammation that allowed me to draw an opinion or come to an opinion as to the age of that injury. Question. Okay, could we go to the next photo, please? Doctor, I'm now showing you, or it is up in the courtroom, what has been marked into evidence, S-152B. Can you tell the jurors what that is? Answer, I received this image subsequent to my initial report, but I received it in conjunction with this question about timing. We already talked about the video at 9 o'clock. It has been represented to me, and I believe there has been some sort of analysis of the photo that indicates it was taken, on or about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. To me, I don't know, Corey could be sleeping, but it's certainly not inconsistent at all with him already having sustained what were ultimately his fatal injuries.
Wow.
And he presents an hour later to the emergency room looking not much different than that, save for the fact that his vital signs were unstable and his color was ashen. Question. So, doctor, would that photograph be consistent with your opinion regarding the timing of the blunt force trauma injury? Answer, yes. Question. Can we move to the next photo, please? Oh, I think we are done. Okay. You could go back to the witness stand. Now, doctor, in conclusion, based upon everything that you have reviewed, what is your medical opinion regarding the cause and manner of death of Corey? Answer, Corey Michelot died of blunt impact injury of the chest with laceration of the heart, contusion of the left lung, and laceration and contusion of the liver. It is a traumatic cause. The manner of death is homicide. It was at the hands of another person. He didn't do it himself, and it didn't happen accidentally. And now we're going to do the cross-examination by Mr. Gallucci. Question, how are you, doctor? Answer, good to see you. Question, good to see you too. Have you ever been to Hanover? Have you been to Hanover lately? Answer, I haven't been to Hanover fairly recently. Question, all right, let's get to it. Answer, yes, sir. Question, did you review all the police reports in this case? Answer, I believe I reviewed police records. I cannot say for certain that I saw every single police report. Question, do you recall? Answer, I saw some. Question, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Answer, I saw some. Question, did you review Detective Mitchell's 29-page synopsis of the case? Answer, I did. Question, okay. Did you review the records from Dr. Harry Larkin? Answer, that name is not familiar to me. Question, okay. Did you review the records from Southern Ocean Medical Center? Answer, yes, sir. Question, did you see any records in there from Dr. Larkin? Answer, I don't. That name, I don't look for names, so I can't recognize the specific name. Question, did you review Dr. Agassi's medical examiner report?
This is the defense attorney. I mean, defense
Question, did you review the medical center?
expert now
Answer, yes, sir.
that they're reading back the transcript on.
Jersey Shore Medical's listed on my initial report or any of my supplemental reports. Question, okay, so you were hired by the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office sometime in September of 2021, right? Answer, correct. Question, okay, and do you recall if that was prior to the medical examiner issuing his report? Answer, no, I believe it was after. Question, okay, so are you still in ME New Hampshire? Answer, I retired from state service in 2017. I maintain a consulting practice, and that is the role that I am playing here today. Question, prior to reviewing the file and agreeing to become an expert, or maybe after you agreed to become an expert, did you have an opportunity to speak to Ms. Lento? Answer, yes. Question, did you have an opportunity to speak to Ms. Schroen? Answer, we communicated primarily via email. My primary discussions were either with Detective Mitchell or Attorney Lento. Question, so did you speak with Detective Mitchell also? Answer, I did. Question, okay, and what was the first time you spoke with Ms. Lento? Answer, I don't recall specifically. I received the initial material for review, and we very likely had a conversation via telephone sometime between my receiving the material in late September
Christopher.
and my first report in February. So we had to
Let me turn that down. Christopher is looking up, trying to look at the jurors right now, and they're going over this transcript. Mom done walked out the courtroom.
transmittal of documents, timing, and scheduling of conferences with Attorney Lento. Question, so when you spoke with Detective Mitchell, and you've already testified that you read his 29-page report, did you notice anything in there about one of the medical examiners from Ocean County Ocean County, from Dr. Harry Larkin? Answer, this is starting to ring some bells. Question, okay. Answer, I believe Dr. Harry Larkin might have been the initial responder in the Ocean County Medical Examiner's Office, and please correct me if I'm wrong. Question, I will. Answer, no doubt. I believe he is the one who ordered the post-mortem CT scan on the body of Corey Michelot. Question now and he's a medical examiner from Ocean County, right? If you know? Answer, that is his title. I don't know what his credentials are, but that is his title. Question, and you were a medical examiner, right? Answer, yes, sir. Question, and a medical examiner is the one that actually physically does the work that you just testified about? Answer, as far as autopsy goes, yes. Question, right. So when you were a medical examiner, you were the one that did the slides, right? Answer, I obtained the specimens. The laboratory generated the slides. Question, and you were the one that would open up the body? Answer, yes, sir. Question, and you were the one that would remove the organs? Answer, yes. Question, you were the one that, as we saw, the liver was opened up, right? You were the one that would do that? Answer, yes, sir. Question, and would you also take those pictures, or somebody else would take the pictures? Answer, depends on the agency. In New Hampshire, I take my own pictures. Question, so Dr. Larkin ordered a CAT scan after Corey had passed, right? Answer, yes, sir, yes, sir. Question, now, that is very unusual, right, for a medical examiner to order a CAT scan after someone
No,
has passed?
the father's not in the court right now
Jurisdiction.
because
Some instances, they are really, like Baltimore,
they're just asking for the reading of the testimony of the witnesses from the doctors. And so that's what we're listening to. The jurors wanting to hear it again.
or another day at the office, and everything in between. Question, so it was unusual then for Dr. Larkin to order a CAT scan in New Jersey? Answer, I don't know what the standard is here. I don't know how often it is done. Question, but he also ordered blood work at that time, right? Answer, that I don't recall. I recall the CT scan, and he certainly would have had access to the blood work that was already done in conjunction with the resuscitation effort. But I am not aware of any additional lab work he ordered. Question, are you aware of the blood work that was taken from the decedent after he had passed? Answer, the only thing I'm aware of that was taken post-mortem was the toxicology specimens that were taken in conjunction with the autopsy by Dr. Ragassa. Question, how about the blood work taken before he was deceased? Answer, that would have been blood work taken by the Southern Ocean. Is it Southern Ocean? Question, is Southern Ocean Medical Center. Answer, during the resuscitation effort. Question, and are you aware that in that blood work there was a high white blood count, high glucose level, and high lactic acid? Answer, yes. Question, that Dr. Larkin found that was indicative of sepsis and infection? Then we had a sidebar. Question, hi doc. Question, do you recall what Dr. Larkin's position was with the Ocean County Medical Examiner? Answer, I just knew that he had the title of medical examiner. I don't know his credentials or nor would know what his specific role was. Question, now you reviewed a number of reports in order to come up with your conclusion. Am I right? Answer, yes. Question, one of the reports you just testified that you reviewed was Detective Mitchell's investigation report? Answer, yes. Question, did you rely somewhat on the report to make some of the conclusions you have here? Answer, in terms of timelines You did read the report for Southern Ocean Medical Center's CAT scan. Do you know what the result of that was? Answer yes. Question okay. And the result of that was that there was an indication for extensive airspace
Bye-bye, Freddie.
in his upper lungs consistent with lung disease. You did read that, right? Answer, I read that, yes. Question, okay. You also read the x-rays. Did you see the x-ray report from Southern Ocean Medical Center? Answer, I remember the x-rays from Jersey, but I can't remember the specific wording of the x-ray reports from Southern Ocean. Question, okay. So let's use Jersey Shore then. At Jersey Shore, you are aware that they yielded negative results for any injury? Answer, yes. Question, okay. And did you review or go through any of Dr. Regassa's reports? Answer, yes. Question, okay. So Dr. Regassa is actually the medical examiner in Ocean County, or one of them, I guess. Answer, one of them, certainly. He is the one who did the autopsy, the original autopsy of Corey. Question, so he's the one that did everything. He is the one that took Corey. He is the one that did the whole entire autopsy? Answer, yes. Question, okay. Now, here we go.
KMB said this can't be a verdict watch. Looks like the juror hasn't deliberated. What do you mean? They're deliberating now. The jurors had went in. They started around about a little bit before for lunchtime. And so they had a question and they wanted to hear the transcript. The judge already said that he wasn't going to give them the transcript, but I guess they're reading it to them.
Occasionally used, but it takes special training to interpret the results of those post-mortem CTs because they don't
This is the verdict watch.
as they do in living people. For example, the appearance of lung disease is simply
They're in deliberation.
no longer flowing through the lungs. Whatever blood
Teacher
is
said
there
Chad Daybell is charged with all counts. Oh, yeah.
The blood is contrasted with air, so it looks like airspace disease. Furthermore, Corey had a well-demonstrated confluent contusion of his, I believe it was the left lower lobe. Now, the CT scan describes the upper lobe stuff.
What they did, they asked the question.
These are lights and shadows. This isn't having it in your hand. A contusion on a CT scan would look like pneumonia. So my disagreement is not in what it shows. My disagreement is in what it means. Question. So you disagree with Dr. Regassa? Answer in regard to question of life saving. Answer, yes, sir. These are not CPR injuries. Question. So now that is a contrarian view. You would agree with me, you are contrary to what the medical examiner here in Ocean County said? Answer, no, I don't think it's a contrarian view. It is a second opinion. And as a matter of fact, it was reviewed not only by Dr. Regassa's supervisor, Dr. Falzone, the chief medical examiner for the state, but taken before a child fatality review committee. Dr. Regassa subsequently changed his report to reflect that this was a homicide. Question, and wasn't that after your report? Answer, yes. Question, okay. So the Ocean County medical examiner changed their report after you gave them your report? Answer, that's my understanding, yes, sir. Question, so do you recall a case that I believe you were the medical examiner on called Patrick McCarthy? Answer, yes. Question, Patrick McCarthy, I believe, was a 10-year-old child? Answer, yes.
I gotta listen to this.
In that case, you were, in fact, the medical examiner? Answer, yes. Question, so were you the actual one that did all the physical work? Answer, yes, sir. Question, okay, and in that case, you said as the medical examiner it was not a murder? Answer, I did. Question, okay, 6 experts, including Dr. Bodden and the FBI, said it was a murder? Answer, no, I don't believe that's true. There were experts that said it was homicide. Likewise, there were a number of experts who agreed with me. And it was my understanding that the FBI, say for one agent who was very, very, let's say, emotionally connected to the case, was insistent that it was a homicide. New Hampshire Fish and Game, New Hampshire Crime Scene Unit, New Hampshire Department of Justice, and the prosecutor, the federal prosecutor in New Hampshire, all agreed that indeed Patrick had died of hypothermia. Now, there is disagreement. I never changed my determination based on what the others said because I did not find it credible. Nevertheless, the family has indeed for, I think it might be 20 years now, has established a website that portrays me as Satan incarnate because I am, quote, covering up a homicide. So yes, I don't think I will ever forget that case. Question,
I remember that.
Using a word on direct exam where you would say not of diagnostic values. What does that mean? Answer, I think I was using that phrase in the context of some of these contusions, like taken individually, one contusion is not diagnostic of child abuse. Multiple contusions varying stages of healing distributed over a if that bruise was caused 12 days prior by the treadmill, and between the treadmill we know that he played football, he went to football practice, he was in his mother's care, he was in his father's care, he was in his grandparents' care, could that heart contusion have happened on March 20th and persisted all the way through April 2nd? Answer, no. Question, okay. We just saw a series of pictures of different injuries that you say Corey received. Can you say with any degree of medical certainty whether any of these injuries that he sustained was what caused the injury to the heart and the liver? Answer, none of the skin injuries, the contusions, can be correlated with what was seen internally. Question, okay. Now, you also said that initially you put your opinion that it occurred between 4 and 12 hours, right? Answer, yes. Question, okay. And then you changed your opinion based upon certain things that you were given afterwards, right? Answer, incorrect. Question, okay. Answer, I did not change my opinion. My opinion was amended or modified on the basis of new information. The basic opinion was still the same. The time frame was narrowed because of additional evidence that suggested that he couldn't have possibly have sustained those injuries prior to 9 o'clock. Question, so now when you met with Detective Mitchell and you met with Ms. Lento, did they discuss with you that if you put it between the 4 and 12-hour period, that he would have actually been in the care of his mother for some of that time? Answer, well, I knew that he did not get dropped off for custodial care to his father until 9 o'clock. So whether or not they mentioned it, I knew that that was the case. Question, so now you are stating that you saw a 33-second video
10,
of the
11,
child speaking to his
12,
mother.
1, 2,
By the
3.
way, is that diagnostic or not
That's over
diagnostic?
6 hours.
Answer, it certainly aids in the diagnosis. It is not diagnostic in and of itself. However, a child is not going to respond in that fashion if he has already, or if he or she has already sustained those ultimately lethal injuries. Question, so in the 33-second video, do you recall it, by the way? Answer, I'm sorry. Question, do you recall it? Answer, the video. Question, yes. The answer, yes, sir, I do. Question, okay, do you recall that in the middle of the video you hear Corey moan? Answer, no, I don't recall that. Question, okay, do you recall in the middle of that video you hear Corey yawn? Answer, yawn. Question, yawn, like indicates. Answer, I don't recall that. Questions, now, you also said that you saw a picture of Mr. Gegor that we just saw on the couch with Corey, and you said at that point that he could have been asleep. By the way, is that picture diagnostic value or non-diagnostic value? Answer, it is of aid in reaching, it is not diagnostic in and of itself. It's consistent with the time frame that I think this injury pattern occurred. Question, so are you saying based on a 33-second video and a picture and ancillary things to show you when that picture was taken and when that audio recording was done, that changed your whole opinion on the 4 to 12 hours? Answer, no, it modulated or amended the opinion. These injuries were of fatal potential, and they could have been certainly responsible for a change in Corey's demeanor and behavior. Therefore, behaving normally at 9 o'clock precludes that portion of the original range of time. Therefore, the clock, if you will, must by necessity start at 9, but it certainly doesn't go beyond 1 o'clock. Question, so with that,
The mother done came back in.
By the way, I'm not a doctor, but let me show you what
The mother done came back in and she's sitting down
I'm assuming that it's heart.
in the courtroom.
Question, thank you, doctor.
Why is they reading everything?
Question, can you circle the contusion? Answer, this is the, there's some colloquy here. Bear with me. Question, how are you, doc? So that is the liver, right? Answer, this is the liver. Question, and that is the heart? Answer, this is the heart. Question, can you draw a circle with the marker where the laceration on the heart would be? More colloquy.
Wow, they're going back over the whole thing, you guys.
Okay, how big was the laceration? Answer, it was described as, there's no scale on it. It was described by Dr. Ragasa as being 1.5 inches in length. Question, do you see it? Answer, yes, sir. Question, okay, is it about 1.5 inches in length? Answer, it certainly appears to be. Question, and about how long would a person live with a laceration of
They
that
did
size?
a poll
Answer, it's not a matter of size.
and said, what will
It's a
be
matter
the
of where
jury
it is,
verdict
what it's doing.
in New Jersey
It's not going to
versus
cause blood
Christopher
loss because the
Gegor?
heart is still intact.
And it
It
says
will
90% says
disrupt
guilty,
of the heart, which
4%
can
says
only
not
be
guilty,
for
and
a
6% says hung
Corey's
jury.
case, it was from the time he was injured until
Hey,
the
Lakendra, how you doing?
11 o'clock p.m. It is not going to be the same for every individual. Some people with diabetes
we're gonna get off of here because they keep reading more and more of the transcript of what went on in the testimony of the expert witnesses to the jurors. The jurors evidently wanted to hear again what the expert witness had said about the autopsy, and they're going over. I thought they were just going to go over one transcript, but they're going over, this doctor and that doctor, and it's getting later and later and later. I don't want to bore you guys. I know I gotta go to work, and you guys, they said Chad Daybell was found guilty on all charges. I knew he was. That man, I told you, that was a slam dunk.
Reliance on the CT scan to say he had pneumonia is utterly without scientific basis. Question, okay, all right. Question, now, do blunt force trauma injuries always leave bruising on the body? Answer, not always, and especially in the case of children who have fairly elastic qualities and plasticity to their skin. You can apply blunt impact injury over a broad enough area to transmit force inside the body and internally injure the body without leaving a...
The transcriptor is just reading everything that they said in court. They're not, and I told everybody this, I don't think that they're going to come out with a verdict. She said, maybe that's why I'm not green. Can y'all drop the link for iPhone membership? I switched my card. What link? Okay, hold on.
Attempted resuscitation. They gave him Naxalone, which is an opiate. We have an objection. Question, okay, can you tell the jurors who Dr. Falzone is? Answer, Dr. Andrew Falzone is the chief medical examiner, or was at the time, I expect he still is, chief medical examiner of the state
It should be in the right corner. I don't have the link.
Answer, it is my understanding he did, yes. Question, and did he speak to Dr. Ragasa about that? Answer, that is what has been represented to me, yes. Question, and after that, did the Ocean County Medical Examiner's Office determine what the cause of death and the manner of death is homicide? Answer, that is my understanding. That's it.
She said, that's it. Hold on.
Judge, there were two portions I think that were left out, like right after objections, if I could direct to the two sections.
Can I write down
Page
what you
line.
said? Page again?
Is that okay, Your Honor?
What needs to write down what you just said?
Sorry. There were two spots right after objections that I think there was some testimony that wasn't read.
Okay. Can you tell me what pages?
Is that okay, Judge?
You want to do that sidebar?
Yes.
Sure, Judge.
So the prosecutors are saying that something that was read wasn't in the testimony.
If you're a pet
And
parent,
so,
you need to see this.
Hold on.
About support.
The prosecutors, this is looking good for the prosecutors, you guys. This is really looking good because everything that they just came on and spoke about was for, she said, there's no join button. She says for iPhone, there's no join button. I don't have the iPhone either. It should be, let me see. I don't see one over here. Let me see. Let me look here. Nope. I don't see it. Lakendra. Man. Okay, you guys, I'm going to get off of here. We came on. We stayed. Woo. This do not look good for Christopher Gegor. Yeah, it should be the same. It's right on the your right side corner. Whether it's an iPhone or a Android, it should be right before where you, right after you make a chat, you know. Well, I don't know. Uh-oh. They all talking and she said, I hate iPhones. I'll do it later from my husband's phone. Girl, them iPhones, y'all pay for them expensive iPhones, you know. My son has one. And they do some stuff. She says, so Sandra Watts might know. I don't know. Boy, everybody was like, when do you think that they're gonna come up with a verdict? I told them, I said, they're not gonna come up with a verdict today. They'll come up with a verdict tomorrow. And I know one of the jurors has to leave. I guess there's a wedding or something she's got to go to. And so I guess they're trying to come to an end and settle this today. Oh, she said, my table broke. Your tablet. You said your table. Your tablet? So I have my daughter's phone and the other kids. He's been in jail, Latoya. He's been in jail. Come on. I want to hear what you got to say. Send him back and I'll get off. I promise. I will go sit down somewhere because I have to be going to work in an hour. So I kind of want to hear. Anytime when they have a sidebar, they make Christopher put on these earphones where he's listening to music and he can't decipher what they're saying, but he be looking at them like he can read lips or something, but he can't. You know, that's something you can't just learn it overnight. You gotta been done already did that stuff. So, you know. They still over there in the sidebar. The mom is smiling a little bit. The judge is talking to somebody in the courtroom. The judge was talking to the mom. Oh, the judge said something to the mom. I guess they was over there in the audience part, kind of giggling and laughing. The mom and her little friends or whatever. And the judge stopped and was like, hey, y'all need to shut up. You know, we can't even hear over here, whatever. Now, remember, take in consideration, the jurors are in the courtroom watching this. So, the mom and whoever was, he kind of looked over at where the mom was sitting. And I don't know if somebody must have said something, but the judge did not like something. Oh my goodness, you guys. See, when they have us on mute and we can't hear, I can only tell you what the judge just did. He told somebody to stop, shut up. The mom should be somewhere listening, not talking. The sentence phase will be in an hour. Oh, they hearing up with the Daybell case. Yeah, Daybell. And what about Trump? Anybody got the latest news of what's going on in the Trump case? Somebody go check it out and see if they got anything on the Trump case. That's why he was looking old after he went in. SP, they already talked to him. Talk to who? Oh, they already talked to him in jail? I haven't heard anything about Trump. Okay. Yeah, the judge was not happy about that outburst in the courtroom. He told them to shut it up. You know, the mom was like, hey, yeah. You know, she kind of looked like she was happy or whatever. And this, you know, and that's not playing, well, you know. If he get off, she'll be crying. She'll be devastated. So you don't go cash your eggs in before the eggs are hatched. You don't do that. Right. Sanjay say both of them need to be locked up and throw away the key. Trump case, they still deliberating. All right. Okay, they're getting ready to take it off, you guys. Let's see. We got it all the way up. They're getting ready to take it off. He couldn't wait to take it off. You know what I'm talking about? Can't say it on here. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
The court reporter, I thought did a great job of reading back because that was actually Rachel Chickalis, the court reporter that day. So she was reading from a transcript taken by another reporter. Once or twice at the area of a couple of the objections or sidebars, there might have been a couple words that were missed. I reviewed those with counsel, and I don't think that overall changes what the doctor testified to, and I think it would be inappropriate now to go back and read a word or two or three to you out of context. So I've ruled that the readback is satisfactory.
Oh, good.
Given the time, it's about 4:34. Do you want a couple minutes to talk, or you just want to say, want to recess for the day and come back tomorrow, or? Right, do that, and then I'll get the key too, because I have to give you the key to lock up the evidence. So, okay, all right, understood. So please resume your deliberations or discussions and let us know.
All right.
Wow, he's letting them go home for the day. They're gonna get the keys so they can lock up all the notes and everything. You remember what's like? He have not been in there that long, and he was looking old. Yes, you know. Oh yeah.
Because right now I just have a feeling they're going to be coming back out pretty quickly.
Yes, that's fine.
For what?
Sure.
Well, the prosecutors wanted to talk about the word or two that was not read back, that was missed. And the judge was like, well, we're not going to add a word or two. It really doesn't change anything. So we're just going to let what was said, this was said. See, you got to have your own person in there writing down everything that's being said. And so the defense is over there mad about something. He's talking to the judge. And the judge got his hand on his chin like, oh my God, like, come on, get over it. Everybody's going home. Let it be a day. We're not going to retrial this or whatever. And the defense is like, you know, uh-oh. Pooh Bear Pooh Bear, they're getting ready to release them, you guys. They're getting ready to release them. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, I'm going to tell you why they're sitting there talking to the judge. So, for 2 days straight, I went and took Diesel out for a walk. And without a leash, I had the leash on him, but I wrapped it up so if I needed to try to grab a hold of him, there was a way I can grab a hold of him. But I walked with him without using the leash, but I still had it on him. And we walked around the block 2 days straight. And he listened to me. He sat when I told him to sit. He went down when I told him to go down. He did get up when somebody tried to approach me. He stood up like, get back. And I was like, whoa. They was like, do your dog bite? I was like, of course, he's a dog. Dogs bite, but he's not going to just attack you. So the person started coming towards me, and then Diesel stood up like, I know you ain't. I know you didn't. and the kid was like, oh. And he just stood there and looked at him like, I wish you would. I was so proud of Diesel. I was like, oh my goodness. I was just so proud of him. And, here they come, you guys. Here they come. Yay. Sanja said, yay, go Diesel. So I know you wasn't in here when I told everybody a tree fell in my backyard, scared the daylights out of Diesel. So that's why he's in the house right now, in the kennel. Christopher looks worried. He looks worried. His mother and his father is not in the courtroom. I think that they're in the overflow room where nobody can see them. And woke to God. They are deliberating. The jurors asked for the readback of the transcript, and they read all the transcript back. I mean, we've been sitting here, and so they just did a sidebar. The judge said no, something wasn't put on the reading back of the transcript, some objections that the state had, but the judge said it was not a significant difference whether what one or two words was not on there or on there. So they not going to go back and change it. And so he told the jurors they can leave. So we're just waiting to see what the judge is going to say now. They're all now just sitting in the courtroom waiting for the judge to say anything and give us. They muted us. Oh, you heard the reading of the transcript? Okay. Yeah. So that's all they're waiting on now. I don't know if they're going to make the jurors come back in again. They're all just sitting there. They said that on the Daybell, David Daybell verdict, he was found guilty on all charges. Judge Guy Ryan, I guess they're making some provisions on the transcript. They did a poll. They did a poll on the site, and out of 13,747 votes, out of 13,747 votes, 90% said that he is going to be found guilty. 4% says not guilty. And 6% says there's going to be a hung jury. I think we're gonna get a verdict tomorrow. I don't believe, because right now it is like 4 o'clock, going on 5 o'clock. It's like 4:41. I think he's gonna dismiss the jurors to go home, and we'll get a verdict tomorrow. This is what I told them. Here they go.
I have my inmates and other calendar matters reported 9:30 tomorrow.
Guilty.
I have, otherwise I had a sentencing calendar on. I tried to cut it down. I adjourned some of the ones I could. So my plan would be to have the jury report at 9, get them in the jury room, and then try and handle some things out here. Any objections, I tell them I'll just be handling other things out here in general, and that that's why they should knock, and it may take us a little longer to bring them in or anything like that.
That's fine.
All right.
Yep, they're done for today.
And then if there's a readback request or a long question or whatever, those people are just going to have to wait. So I tried to cut it down to about half of what it would normally be.
Christopher just talking and talking and talking. They got to push the button. I don't know what it is on Friday. The juror has a verdict on Fridays or sometimes Monday. I don't think they're going to wait it out until Monday, because they've been in court since April. LaKendra says, I'm not up to speed on the Gegor case. What was the victim's name? His name is Corey. He's a little boy, 6 years old. There's a viral video out where the dad, and you can Google this, the dad his name is Corey, running on a treadmill, and he turns up the treadmill to super, super fast, and this child is just falling off. He gets back on, he falls off, and I mean, he's falling face first, and the dad is sitting there telling him to get back on, and he's trying to get back on. It's like 6 times he does this. So he picks the child up, and he picks the child up, vigorously, and he sets him on the treadmill, and he's holding both of his hands and pushing him down on the treadmill, and his little legs is just flapping. He's just flapping. He can't keep up because the treadmill is going like 100 miles an hour. And I kid you not, they're not speeding up the video. This is how fast this treadmill is going, and this kid is just going, and everybody think, and I thought, he puts his head down on the child trying to push him down, but they said he was biting him in the head. Now, I don't know if he was biting him or he was just pushing him down on the treadmill, trying to make his little feet, to show how fast he's got to go. And the kid was just doing this. And, oh, my God, it's just unfreaking believable. So this is the case. This is the case. The father is on trial for homicide. At first, they tried to say that the child died from sepsis of pneumonia. But when he was rushed to the hospital, when he was taken to the hospital, I can't say rush because we don't know how fast or how slow the dad drove, but he did take him to the hospital, and they did a CBC, a complete blood count, but his white blood count said normal, and his red blood count said normal. They looked, he didn't have no infection, no redness, no nothing. But then when they put him in the CT scan, he went in convulsions, and then they tried to revive him by doing CPR. Well, doing CPR, they did CPR for 49 minutes. Now, on pediatrics doing CPR, you do it with one hand, 2 fingers, right? That's CPR for a child. For grown-ups, you do your hand, you put it in a fist, you cover the other hand, and you push down. And you do it vigorously, because you're trying to get that heart to push some oxygen in there and get it to the brain, because that's the main thing. That's where you get your ABCs at. You got your air, breath, and compressions.
Open the door, give the key to the 4-person, ask her to lock up the evidence, all their notes.
So, anywho's, you guys, The baby passed away at I think it was like 5:07 or something like that. The dad leaves at 5:10. He had called his mother and said, "Hey, Corey passed away." She was like, "What are you talking about? We're on our way. We finna call the police." He was like, "She did something." And they was like, "She," talking about the mother. He gets in the car and leave and drive to Tennessee. The dad does. He doesn't stop, collect nothing. He just gets in the car and he just leave. He's like a bat out of HE hockey stick and leave. Did you see the one where the mom beat the boy and then threw him in the pool to drown? Yeah. The adopted mom. Was it adopted mom? Yeah, they don't do breaths all the time because breaths are great, but as long as you're doing those compressions, some air is getting in there. They're wanting to get the oxygen to the brain. So the last time I did the CPR, because we have to do CPR every 2 years, and I'll do it next year because I just did it last year. So every 2 years we got to do the CPR. And things has changed where, it's like adults. You do 30 compressions, so many breaths. In children, 15 compressions, 15 breaths, or 5 breaths or something. I can't remember, but any way that you do it, you're gonna help the victim, regardless. If you don't even know how to do it, just do something. Something is better than nothing. And I'm not giving you medical advice, you guys. Just let you know. That's the disclaimer right here. I'm not giving you medical advice. Because when you're in that state of mind to do it, you're not going to remember the numbers. You're just not. I mean, I've been in that situation, and I don't know what I was doing. I was just...
So number 13, we figured we'd talk to you at sidebar about your scheduling issues.
Yes.
So now they got a sidebar about scheduling issues. Like I said, somebody I knew needed to be gone on Friday, and now they got the Eagle up there. So that's cool. I'll get the end of it later. I know that they're going home. Did y'all hear about the 4-year-old baby that died with Mountain Dew? Yes, we heard about the mom feeding that baby Mountain Dew, and this is not her first rodeo. She's done it before, and I think she took a plea deal or something of that nature. But I don't know if she did or not. But yeah, she keeps giving these kids Mountain Dew, and it's crazy. Anyway, you guys, we'll come on tomorrow and we'll have a verdict watch, but I guarantee you, I kid you not, I believe that they're going to come up with a verdict tomorrow. I believe Christopher will be found guilty, and I just don't want it to be the lesser charge. I do believe he's going to be found guilty, but I can't tell you if it's going to be for, because I don't think, he done, okay, some people get mad at me, but intentional, I just letting you guys know, you guys should know what intentional means. Intentional means he meant to kill the child with whatever he did. And I don't think that this was I'm not saying it was an accident. He meant to hurt the child, but as far as death, his intentions was to kill the child. I don't think that they can prove that he intentionally going to kill the kid. I think he wanted to hurt the child, but intentionally, I don't think he's going to get found on that. But who knows? He sought out to hurt the child to get back probably at the mother. And this goes to tell you something. I just want to say, never know who's dealing with your child. It could be your own relatives, and they don't want to deal with your child. Don't make them deal with your kid. Yeah, she said he still killed the baby. Yeah, I know that. And sometimes they can be found guilty because your actions led to the death. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you walked into um, a just say a grocery store and you wanted to rob the grocery store. Your intentions was to rob the grocery store. But as you was robbing the grocery store, somebody had a heart attack. Your intentions was not to kill nobody or get somebody killed. But by your actions of what you did do, harm someone. You know. And this is what I'm saying. Like he thought that he beat this baby. He just I don't think he believed he beat the baby that bad. I don't know if his father treated him like this, and what would make him do this, because he didn't want a baby by this person that did drugs. He didn't want a baby by this woman here that was in his path. He called her a dirtbag. She was worthless. She was a drug addict, and some of us went that route sometime in our life, and some of us didn't. I just was one of them that didn't. Did I try it? Yeah, I tried it, but it didn't faze me none. So that's why I didn't have a problem with it. But some people did. But I tell people all the time, things happens to your kids when you're not in your right state of mind, and then you're mad at them because they didn't treat your kid the way that they should have, or the way you think they should, while you were doing what you were doing. I do think he wanted a child, but not by her. But I mean, and I get it, I understand it, because I've been in a situation where I had my brother's child, and they wouldn't even give me a nickel, dime, a quarter. Sometimes we had to go to the Goodwill to get clothes, because I got 3 kids to put clothes on and feed and all this other stuff. Everybody thought it was kiki and funny, but I'm raising your child. Why would you do that? Help! Nope, couldn't help. Couldn't give me a dime. But and then when they finally did give me a dime, one time they gave me $1,000 one time. Well, guess what? We had to pay house payment. We had to pay electric. They were mad. They wanted me to buy toys for the child. Now take it in consideration. I done already had this child for like 2 or 3 years. Ain't nobody gave me a penny. So I get child support for my biological kids, both of them. And guess what? We all eat. Bills get paid. I don't sit there and go, this is from your daddy, so here you go. This is from your daddy, so you get shoes. No, once it hits my hand, I take care of whatever the kids need. Period, point blank. I don't care who kid they are. They in the house, we all eat. If we all can't get shoes, nobody gets shoes. And we all eat, the bills is paid, and that settles that. Well, family couldn't understand that. They sent $1,000 one time out of 14 freaking years, and oh my goodness, it didn't go directly to that one particular child. Now, hold on now. Now, take in consideration, I get $150 for each child. Now, what if I would have took that $150 and spent it on this child and that child, and the other child didn't get nothing? This goes on for years until my kids turn 18. I got child support for both of them. Wouldn't that would have been bad for the child that didn't get child support? Yeah, they would have been like, you treated the other kids better and da-da-da-da-da because your father sent me one time $1,000. Come on now. I'm not the one. So you won't give me nothing else? Fine. We will still share everything that comes into this house. She said 14 years, that's not even a penny a day. Exactly. See what I'm saying? Exactly. Exactly. Come on. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yep. They went on home, you guys. They went on home. All right, you guys, I'm going to get off of here. You guys have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your day. And I will see you guys tomorrow. You know I'm going to come on here because this is so interesting. And we will take it from there. Be good, be great, be nice.